breeds Colombian women began to establish themselves in the country. From the colony and through time have undergone natural selection, are cattle from Europe, USA and India, constituting and adapting to the conditions of the region. The Colombian Creole breeds are totally adapted to the low tropics. They are rustic and have high levels of fertility. This allows them to have good yields and meat productivity. They are also ideal for crosses with other breeds, printing its rusticity and adaptability. In this chapter we will talk about two of them: White Origine-Negro, or Bon and Casanareno. Let's accompany. Blanco Origine-Negro or Bon. Its area of influence is the region with the medium climate coffee maker. The white fur color, with black ears, they have well-pigmented mucous membranes, which confer tolerance to solar radiation and ectoparasites such as the wheeze and ticks. Docile temperament, great strength and ability to walk on steep terrain. It is also used as a pack or draft animal in the absence of the calf. The cow, or Bon, inhibits milk letdown and shortens the lactation period, which could be interpreted as an excellent maternal ability. It also has excellent combinatorial ability with zebu, to produce hybrids with excellent meat characteristics. Colombia is a country with many possibilities to develop livestock production, for each of the different natural regions, formed by the three divisions of the Andes mountain system, and the hydrographic basins of the Orinoco and Amazonas. The country practically has an adapted Creole bovine breed. In the regions of broken topography of average climate, of the central zone of Colombia, the Bon Origine-Negro or Bon cattle has prospered, whose name obeys the external characteristics, white fur and black ears, due to the selection process that has operated in said race, for a space close to 500 years, has characteristics of maximum economic importance, such as the ability to reproduce and survive, rusticity, expressed especially in its resistance to fighting, grading or thorning, and in its ability to graze and take advantage of coarse, fibrous and low-value forages. Nutritional value and the ability to navigate steep terrain. Due to the marked external differences of the Bon with the other Colombian Creole races, there are several hypotheses to explain a different origin of this one. The White Park and Wild White breeds of Great Britain, the White Cattle of Italy, the Sweet Airs Mountain breed and the Spain, as well as crosses between the different types of Spanish cattle of the time, are frequently mentioned as ancestors of Bon, considering that the first years after the conquest, the only cattle imports were made from Spain. The most probable hypothesis of its origin is the income race, the one that possesses the same external characteristics of the Bon, whatever the origin of the Bon. The important thing is the adaptation process it has undergone to a wide range of environments and different management levels to which it has been subjected in the country's medium climate coffee zone. The most outstanding characteristics of the black-eared white are white fur, internally and externally black ears and strongly pigmented skin. Calves are born with pink skin, but it gradually becomes black due to the action of the external stimuli, especially solar radiation. The pigmentation process is complete around 24 months. They are also black. The tips of the horns, the trunk or nose, the tongue, the palate, the surroundings of the eyes, the anus, the vulva, the perineum, scrotum, udder, teats, and limbs, especially the front of the distal third and the hooves. The coat or coat presents some variations in its color, length and distribution. In the simple or common white, the white layer predominates and is present in 55% of the cases. Animals, in the hairy variety, the length of the hair is greater and it occurs very sporadically. The type 2 hairs, they have black scattered throughout the body. The mucous membranes, eyelashes, limbs and tassels of the tail being black. There are other colors less frequent and in other areas of the country. The conformation of the black-eared white is very variable, but in general it is a typical animal of double utility, the thin tail in high insertion, the dropped haunch, the saddled back and the narrowing of the sit bones, are typical in Bon cattle. The high set of the tail increases the diameter of the pelvis to facilitate childbirth, with a drooping haunch and a saddled back, are typical in animals of mountain, characteristics that enable them to travel through rough terrain, especially economic importance in its resistance to luche, renzo or torsalo and to ticks. The little damage produced by the luche larva is due to several factors, among which the thickness of the skin stands out, which is hardly crossed by the larvae. Its strong pigmentation produces a repellent odor for flies that they act as vectors of the fight. The color of the coat, since the cattle of colors is more susceptible, with the belief that vector flies are colorblind white, and finally its congenital immunity, which could be attributed to the action of genes dominant. The Bon is an animal with a calm and docile temperament, and due to its great strength and ability to walk on steep, non-mechanized terrain, is also used as a pack or draft animal. The shortening of lactation and the inhibition of the lowering of milk in the absence of the calf, are an indication of the maternal ability of Bon cows. Bon's great combinatorial ability, especially with zebu, manifested in the great production of hybrids of extraordinary behavior, both individual and maternal, for its extraordinary properties of adaptation to environmental conditions, of the middle coffee zone of the country, characterized by the poverty of its soils and the presence of parasites especially phyte and ticks, and for its great contribution in the production of hybrids with excellent productive traits. No effort should be spared in breeding, preservation and utilization of the germplasm of the Bon breed, with the final purpose of produce more meat and milk more efficiently using a genetic resource adapted. Has the largest population in the country of Colombian Creole race. Casanareno. The area of influence is the floodplain or savanna of the departments of Arauca and Casanare in Colombia, characterized by having acidic soils with extreme droughts and floods, fodder of poor nutritional quality, management systems extractives with few or no inputs. The temperature can exceed 35 degrees centigrade. Precipitation ranges between 1,600 and 3,500 millimeters. These environmental and management characteristics produced a bovine with a temperament nervous, small in size, but supremely adept at surviving and reproducing in such conditions. The color of the coat is varied, but with a predominance of animals with a single coat color, from black to light yellow. Has large horns, lined straight and narrow dorsal, thin and strong limbs, which enable it to cover long distances in search of food and water. Colombia ranks first in Latin America in terms of bovine diversity. This racial diversity is fundamentally due to the adaptation that the Spanish races had to do to survive in the different geographical regions of Colombia. It is as well as in the region of the Colombian Orinoquia, two races are developed, one of them the Creole Casanare breed. The Casanare Creole bovine breed has not been studied in its entirety. Potential considering that it survives in an inhospitable environment of the Orinoquia Colombian, then its study, conservation, multiplication, dissemination and use are necessary to contribute to the improvement of the agricultural sector. Due to the qualities of fertility and survival important in livestock production in any part of the world. With the introduction of the Bos indicus or zebu cattle in the region around 1950, began to cross the two races and the good results shown by the effect of the vigor hybrid to the crossing of zebu males with Creole females, were misunderstood in such a way that all the value was attributed to the Bos indicus, ignoring the genetic contribution of the Creole Casanare. The practice of using Zebu bulls permanently in all the ranches in such a way that at present the Casanare Creole breed is about to disappear, as a consequence of the absorbing, successive crossings. Although the Zebu, coming from tropical regions, adapts well to soils of Piedmont, does not have the same behavior in the floodplain areas, in the which during 6 months there are intense rains, which make the rivers overflow and flood much of the savannas, leaving only the highest areas devoid of water and where the Zebu cattle remain. Because they do not have the ability to graze as the Creole in flooded areas during daylight hours, to go out to the banks in the hours at night. This behavior in the Zebu causes areas of savanna to appear eroded by the increase of the animal load on the dry areas. The increase in diseases and therefore the greater need to use raw materials, external factors that make livestock activity in the region less productive. The head color of the python 76.2% black, 21.4% caramel, 2.4% white. Color of the shovel is 54.8% white, 45.2% dark. Bangs are 100% absent. Jowls are 69% discontinuous, 16.7% continuous and 14.3% absent. The mucosal pigmentation is 73.8% black, and hoof pigmentation is 71.4% black, 14.3% streaked, 9.5% light and 4.8% dark. Her hair length is 100% short. The race as of orthoid or rectilinear profile. The hypometric and longilinear conformation suitable for meat production in tropical systems. The correlations obtained between variables and between indices indicate a medium-high harmony. That is to say that it starts from a group of homogeneous animals, in such a way that the action by selection on a character would carry with it the response in the other variables to the same extent of the correlation percentage. Usually the section of the horn is circular and its position is opisthoceros. The horns are large and high-hooked, the size of the ears is medium and are horizontal. Also their orbits are marked and have a straight cephalic profile. Its neck is medium. The line of the lumbar back is straight and the belly somewhat tucked up. The birth of the tail is in a line, with a straight back and a fine tail, with a tassel small and of good legs. The attachment of the udder is normal and firm, is of size small and small nipples. This breed that is in the region of Casanare, Colombia, where there are already a large number of ranchers interested in multiplying and conserving these cows that are from the humid plains due to their adaptation.